Okay, let's get into this. We've been handed just a massive stack of sources, internal notes, all describing what some people are calling a secret crisis
Yeah.
inside the Kansas City Chiefs.
Right, and this isn't just, your standard rivalry trash talk.
Not at all. These sources are claiming that the Denver Broncos didn't just win a game, they basically cracked the code on a fundamental tactical vulnerability that it could genuinely threaten the Chiefs' entire season.
That's the core of it.
Yeah.
So our mission in this deep dive is to really move past the sensationalism. The social media world, it's already on fire.
Oh yeah, we saw the hashtag Chiefs crisis. It just exploded.
Exactly. But we aren't here for the noise. We need to analyze the specific, the technical mechanism of this flaw, figure out exactly how the Broncos weaponized it, and then decide if the Chiefs' internal response is genius preparation or just pure desperation.
We're looking for the structural damage, not just the smoke. You use the phrase the unnoticed shadow, and what we're trying to find is that moment the shadow became visible to a rival, and more importantly, why the Chiefs couldn't stop it from being exploited.
Precisely. We're drawing a really clear line here between what the public sees and a real internal technical failure. The sources suggest this exposure wasn't a one-off thing. It was the result of a flaw that had been festering.
Okay, so let's start with the immediate aftermath. The drama is, it's immense. Fans are reeling. The pressure is just overwhelming. And we're told the players gave those classic vague quotes about execution and playing better.
Which is exactly why the internal leaks are so important. They confirm this isn't about outside critique. The organization is genuinely distressed.
So what are we seeing?
We have specific quotes. One from an anonymous locker room source, and he was clearly frustrated. He admitted that the coaches saw the problem last game and they couldn't fix it. The Broncos just exposed what was already broken.
Wow. If the coaches saw it and couldn't fix it in real time, that just screams systemic breakdown. That is not a bad day at the office.
Absolutely not. And that's backed up by commentary from outside the team, too. We tracked down that screenshot on X from a former Chiefs player.
I saw that one.
Yeah, and he gave a really concise diagnosis. He said, this kind of weakness doesn't appear overnight. It grows in silence until someone exposes it.
So what he's confirming is that this isn't random.
Yeah.
It's the consequence of a failure that developed quietly until Denver just put a massive spotlight on it.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's transition from the drama to the mechanics. Let's identify the precise technical flaw. What is the Achilles heel for a quarterback as gifted as Mahomes?
All the sources really converge on one specific pressure point. Mahomes struggles against immediate pressure attacking his blind side.
Now, hold on. Every quarterback hates blindside pressure. What's different here?
It's the nuance of it. For Mahomes, the issue is how immediate it is. The source material uses that analogy of a surgeon operating blindfolded. Now, that's dramatic, I know.
A little bit.
A little bit, yeah. But it illustrates the cognitive delay, that half second.
Okay, let's break that down for our listener. What does a half-second delay actually look like in an NFL pocket?
It means that thing Mahomes does, that fundamental brilliance where he extends plays, looks off receivers, makes impossible throws. It gets short-circuited.
Right.
He's trained to see the whole field, but when sudden, unexpected pressure collapses his peripheral vision, it forces him to accelerate his internal clock. That half second is the difference between diagnosing a coverage and, just dumping the ball or taking a sack.
And the opening for this pressure, it points directly to the offensive line. The sources suggest the O-line hasn't just had a few bad plays, they've, and this is a quote, lost communication, cohesion, and identity.
That's strong language.
It is. So how does an elite O-line lose its identity?
Well, that's the real core issue, because cohesion is the lifeblood of an O-line. When we talk about losing identity, we're talking about a breakdown in just fundamental assignment clarity. Are they running zone blocking, a gap scheme? The sources suggest they're sort of caught between ideas, and it's causing these synchronization errors.
Can you give us an example? How does that loss of cohesion show up under blindside pressure?
Okay, think about a defensive stunt where two linemen cross paths to confuse the blockers. A cohesive line has a predetermined switch call, a silent cue that shifts assignments instantly.
Instantly.
When cohesion is lost, those calls get missed. Or worse, only half the line hears it. So if the weak side guard and tackle are out of sync on that switch, that blindside rusher comes in completely unblocked. And that's how Mahomes suddenly goes from having 5 seconds to having 0.
So the Chiefs have this structural weakness, and the sources confirm the Broncos have the perfect weapon to exploit it.
They absolutely do. Denver leads the NFL in quarterback pressure with a absurd 46 sacks.
46.
That number isn't just high, it signals a philosophical commitment to just a relentless pass rush. They possess the exact overwhelming force needed to repeatedly hit that newly exposed blindside pressure point.
So it's the perfect tactical storm. A team that specializes in pressure meeting a team that's breaking down exactly where that pressure hurts the most.
Couldn't have said it better.
Okay, so they can't ignore this. This brings us to the internal response. What are the Chiefs doing behind closed doors?
Well, insiders confirm the response is intense. Sources who were at closed practices revealed they're testing a very specific, what they're calling a special formation.
This isn't just a minor substitution, though.
No, this is a dedicated attempt to mask the vulnerability. The sources describe it as unusual, risky, and even borderline desperate.
Is that just analyst hyperbole, or is this really a foundational change?
I think desperate highlights the severity of the threat. A special formation to hide blindside pressure usually means max protection schemes.
So keeping extra guys in to block.
Exactly.
Right.
We're likely talking about keeping an extra tight end and a running back in to block on every single down, sacrificing 2 elite receiving targets purely for 7-man protection.
But if they do that, they fundamentally change their entire offense. You lose the speed, the route diversity, the very things that make the Chiefs' offense so effective.
That's the risk calculation. They're basically saying, we would rather be less effective on offense than risk the catastrophic turnover or injury that blindside pressure creates.
So what are the analysts saying?
Well, this brings us to the speculation that Coach Andy Reid is preparing a plan B, a plan that could involve a complete offensive identity shift if the first half fails.
A complete identity shift mid-game.
Yeah.
That's unheard of for a team that relies so heavily on consistency.
It would mean abandoning their quick read, vertical passing game entirely, moving toward heavy run blocking, short play action, a methodical clock draining approach.
It's the technical equivalent of saying, we can't trust our foundation, so we have to go into survival mode.
Precisely. The analysts think Reid is ready to scrap the entire aerial attack just to protect the quarterback.
And there's evidence for this, right, in the last game.
A very telling piece, yeah. The sources noted Mahomes made 2 late crucial adjustments right before the snap, and he was physically pointing exactly toward the side where the Broncos were attacking.
But wait, wouldn't a good quarterback always make tactical adjustments?
Yes, but the sources interpreted the nature of these adjustments differently. They called it technical fear disguised as tactical adjustment.
Technical fear.
It wasn't just fixing a miscommunication, it was frantic, last-second signaling, a reaction to a known immediate danger. It shows a lack of trust in the system, forcing the quarterback to become the last line of defense.
So now all the technical analysis is lining up with the team's reaction, which leads us to the most damaging piece of evidence, that leaked audio clip.
This is the quote that brings everything home. It's reportedly from a member of the Chiefs' coaching staff during prep week, and it just strips away all the PR spin.
What does he say?
The coach stated, quietly but clearly in the recording, "If they attack the weak side again, we don't have a ready answer, it'll get ugly."
Wow, we don't have a ready answer. That doesn't just confirm the weakness, it confirms they don't think they can solve it in time.
Exactly. It implies the Broncos didn't just win one tactical battle. They exposed a foundational crack that can't be patched with a simple scheme investment in a single week.
So if Denver commits to targeting that blindside pressure point again,
the sources suggest it could genuinely lead to the most catastrophic, visible collapse of the entire Mahomes era, a loss determined not by turnovers, but by structural deficiency.
the whole situation just reveals that brutal, intense, strategic chess match of the NFL, where one little technical detail can dictate these massive, season-defining outcomes.
And this is why it should matter to you, the listener. It shows that winning isn't always about talent. It's about whether your team can maintain complex coordination under the most extreme pressure.
So we started with a social media panic. We moved through a detailed breakdown of a very specific tactical flaw, that blindside pressure, and confirmed the internal high-stakes panic with leaks from the coaching staff.
Which leaves us with a final provocative thought. Does the ability to hide a strategic weakness, by using some borderline, desperate plan B formation that sacrifices your whole identity, does that outweigh the fundamental failure of the offensive line's cohesion?
Is it genius coaching or just confirmation of a foundational flaw?
Exactly. Is this risky tactic proof of Andy Reid's genius in adaptation, or is it just confirming that the structural flaw they can't fix is so severe it warrants a complete betrayal of their core
A
philosophy?
foundational flaw versus a desperate act of genius. That's the question looming over this whole matchup. Definitely something for you to think about as you watch how these deep-seated technical vulnerabilities play out on the biggest stage.